Balls.
I'd like to give everybody out there listening a very warm White Cat welcome, because you're tuned in to the White Cat Outdoors podcast.
Balls.
Episode 50, here we sit, White Cat Outdoors podcast. What's going on, everybody? Nick's here.
Hey, how we doing?
Tom's here.
Yes, I am.
And White's here.
Thanks for joining us here at the table while we talk about the outdoors today, folks.
Yeah, it's we got quite a bit to talk about, because I definitely want to talk about Sunday hunting, because we're finally allowed to do it in PA.
Oh,
a little bit,
Just a little bit. Just a schmucksten.
Yeah, just a
They're
taste.
giving us just a taste. It's kind of like, you know, when...
When you go to Sam's Club and that guy's standing there with the tray.
Yeah.
That or I was actually referring to like when mom takes the turkey out of the oven and she wants you to just try the turkey.
Yeah.
You know, not the whole thing, just a little
the
little
very
taste.
tip.
Just very tip.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of that action, and we're done with the whole first week. And
Nick finally got a deer.
no, he didn't.
It's not April
Tom,
Fool's,
nobody's
Tom.
gonna believe that.
Actually, just a thought. By the time they're listening to this, could have.
Yeah,
So,
maybe.
Tom, I think what he's saying is Nick's gonna get a deer.
No, I was making fun of you because
because I was the one that shot the deer, not
Yeah.
you.
It's crazy.
A buck, I might add.
I've done 2 camp series. Frank's done 2.
Waiting
Frank
on you.
has done one camp series.
This is my
This
second.
is number 2.
Yeah. Frank's going number 2. Wild.
Right?
So, like Frank said, we got another deer camp series for you. No thanks to me.
But
Maybe
definitely
next
not.
week.
Maybe next week. Could be next week.
Next week's like the last deer camp series, one that we'll be doing, because rifle will be over.
You're
Yeah.
not doing them through muzzleloader.
I don't think
No,
so.
because there's a little bit of a break, and muzzleloader's a little different. We could go back and do like a little kill cast, but I think the deer camp series will end
And
next
with
week.
rifle. Yeah, I agree.
But before we get into that story, let's just do a quick roundtable discussion.
Opening day?
Sunday hunting.
Oh.
So Frank, because you brought it up,
I think we should do an opening day recap, too.
we can, but let's.
But
do
nobody
it.
did anything on opening day.
Yeah, but we all
saw
made
like
predictions.
6 deer like all together.
Remember last episode?
All right, yeah,
made
let's go
predictions?
over our predictions. We were all wrong.
Yeah, we sure were. No one was even close to right.
Yeah.
I did mention a high and tight 8 in that, though, and that's what I shot, but it wasn't on the
Spoiler
first
alert.
day. Yeah, spoiler alert. You
So-
probably already saw it on the gram, though.
Yeah. So Frank, Sunday hunting, what was it like for you?
Honestly, I was pretty jerked off the first Sunday we got to hunt, because
In bow season?
yeah, in bow season, because it was literally the shittiest day of the year. It was blowing like 40 miles an hour and rainy, and
I was still out
nasty.
there.
Yeah, I didn't go out. I'm not into shooting my bow at a deer in weather like that.
Well, see, I hunted from the ground, and it wasn't a constant 40 mile an hour. It was probably a
Constant 20.
No,
Yes, it was. You're out of your mind.
not down where I was.
Okay.
But you'd get some 40 mile an hour gusts. And
Yeah, it was a rough day.
I tell you what, there was 20 minutes where it really got nice out. Sun came out, wind died right down, and I saw 7 deer in like 20 minutes.
They were like, we better get to going while this weather's nice. And
Yeah, but that was all I saw. So, yeah, pretty shitty.
Yeah, and I'm sure you didn't go out on that first Sunday either.
No, it did not.
No, Nick's a fair weather hunter.
Yeah,
figures.
I just don't like taking shots when I can't track them easily.
I didn't plan on shooting. I was trying to learn and observe and become a better hunter.
Yeah, I do that before the season starts.
You can never stop learning.
It's true.
So the second Sunday, I didn't hunt
was
either.
bear.
Yeah, it was bear season, which I don't really bear hunt. In
Not
PA.
a big bear guy.
But even that day was pretty shitty weather. It wasn't great.
I think you can shoot bear now, though.
You can always shoot bear during bear season.
I know. I think bear season's in, though.
Oh, I thought you meant like you
So
could
like,
shoot
it is
bear.
the cool thing now.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, though. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
I don't-
Coming from Uncle Mark.
Well, and also people could listen to this podcast 6 months from now.
And technically it is
So,
classified as a fictional podcast. So,
Yeah, we actually haven't officially put that disclaimer out. These are all based on true events.
Yeah. Loosely based.
Yeah.
So
Some names and places have been changed to protect our privacy.
yeah. So the last Sunday that we got to hunt, this past one, was a beautiful day. Like one of the best days you could ask for, honestly. It was a great day.
yeah.
And I spent all day
out walking around with Jeremiah trying to find him a deer. We pushed my property, just kind of walked and sat and wandered around, went to a few different pieces, and saw one doe the whole day. It was a slow day. Couldn't have asked for a more beautiful day, but it was just not the day for the deer, I guess. But I had a great time, and I'm super, super glad that we got to do those Sundays, and I'm really, really praying that we keep them going and more. Like, from now on, we just get Sundays like every other friggin' state.
Agreed.
So
Tom?
my Sunday, I had a Thanksgiving dinner at the prime time of noon. So I got to hunt till 9:30. Saw 8 doe, and had to take my football and go home.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did enjoy being out there for that
Yeah,
couple hours in the morning.
yeah. Everybody I talked to obviously loved it because people have been begging for Sunday hunting for a long time, and I know a lot of people that like buy New York and Ohio licenses specifically because they can hunt Sundays, and you can't hunt Sundays in PA. And like my dad always says, like he would be able to hunt more in New York than in PA because he just doesn't have time with work and stuff. If he could hunt Sundays, he would have a lot more days in the woods in PA if he could hunt Sunday.
Yeah, but see, we've always hunted New York, so the whole Sunday hunting thing's never been huge for me.
Yeah, that I kind of feel the same way because we go to New York. It's like a tradition that we just go up. That's just what
It's
we do.
tradition.
Yeah, we do it every month.
Yeah, I'd still probably hunt New York on Sunday.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
too, but it's
Well-
nice for everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's a good point you make there, because I didn't actually take advantage of Sunday hunting in PA this year.
Slept in.
Um,
It's too cold
But-
for him.
okay,
Got
Tom.
below 40.
That's why he doesn't do any deer cam series.
Yeah, you guys just wait. It's gonna be a freaking slob.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, but like you guys said, like we all hunt New York, so Sunday hunting isn't like special to us because we get to do it every year anyway. But my little rant on this whole topic is you got these guys that are buying licenses every year that are against it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're paying for this license, yet you would rather be restricted on when you can use it within the season. And I
Yeah.
think that's a bit ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
and the other thing is there's a lot of people that don't hunt that want their day to hike and whatnot on public ground and everything. And my argument to that is you're not the one paying for the public land.
Yeah,
Public
the
lands are
hunting
paid for by
licenses.
hunting licenses. And I also believe that if you're going to use public land, you should have to buy a hunting or fishing license.
I wouldn't say I think
Like,
you
I
should
feel
have
like
to
there
buy
should be a
trail
separate
permit.
there should be a separate like fee to
Yeah,
use
if you're
public
going to
ground.
use it, you should have to. It's just like driving your vehicle on the
Yeah.
road. You
Yeah,
gotta-
and a hunting license would cover that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think if you have a hunting license, you should have to buy another
No,
permit,
Yeah.
a hunting license, or you can opt to buy a
trail permit.
yeah,
Or your hunting license comes with a trail permit
state-
somehow that way.
state
Yeah.
land
Yeah.
pass or something.
Because that's what it's funded by. If you're going to use it and want to have a say in the way it gets used, I feel like you should be funding it as well.
Yeah, I think more so just to have a say. Like if you want to use it, whatever, in the summertime when nothing's in season, go ahead and do it. Do whatever the hell you want. But if you want to try to dictate what happens on that land, you should be paying to.
Yeah, like
you should be
everybody
contributing
else.
to it.
So,
Yeah,
That's
and
all
like
I-
you were saying with people like complaining, like, oh, we don't want Sunday hunting. Well,
if you don't want it,
don't
then don't
go
hunt.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people, like I was saying, like my dad, that would really love Sunday hunting just for the sake of work. They could actually get out in the woods a little bit more often now. So if you don't want a Sunday hunt, just don't Sunday hunt. But a lot of other people are screaming for it.
Yeah, that's the other one. Everybody's upset about this Saturday opener we've started back up. It's not Saturday opener was a thing a long time ago. And they brought it back last year. And there was a lot of people complaining because they felt rushed after Thanksgiving and it wasn't the same. And my saying to that is if you want the Monday opener, you don't have to hunt Saturday.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to hunt Sunday when they opened it this year. Like
Yeah, because all they
You
did was
can
give
do-
you an extra day of
2 days.
hunting. Yeah.
they gave you 2 days this year, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if they didn't give us
yeah.
Sunday, you would get a Saturday.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not-
like the season ended a day earlier.
Yeah, all
you
you got to
still
do,
could have hunted
you
Monday
could have hunted
through.
the exact same way you've been doing for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and did the same thing. And I don't understand why these people are complaining about getting an extra day to hunt. You always hear these rifle hunters talk about how the archery hunters get all the time in the woods, and they give them an extra day and they complain about it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm part of both crowds. We rifle and archery hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm for getting more time in the woods. I love.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would complain about
Yeah.
Days in the Woods.
My favorite season is Ohio. It opens like end of September and is wide open until like second week of
February.
January or February.
Yeah.
And there, there's no. It switches from archery to rifle to muzzleloader, and back to archery. But you can use both. Like Ohio is one of those states you can always hunt down. Illinois, I don't think, or they just switched it. Illinois,
really?
Yeah, Illinois used to like shotgun season was shotgun season. You could not bring a bow out.
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah.
I've never heard of a state that wouldn't let you hunt down.
Yeah, that was just recently that that's been switched. Yeah, so there's that. I think that's pretty much covered everything on Wednesday or Sunday hunting.
Yeah. So
We've always been able to hunt Wednesdays.
yeah.
That's true.
Can't remember a Wednesday, like absolutely not.
Yeah, that's another thing. If people want a day for the woods to calm down, make it Tuesday or Wednesday. Like,
A middle of the week
yeah,
day.
like if they want, like seriously.
Yeah.
But people will complain about that too. Complain that their beer is too cold at the bar. It's just the way humans are.
Yeah.
But
overall, I'm way into Sunday hunting.
oh
We
yeah,
should
big
do it
time.
all
Yeah.
the time.
This podcast supports Dan Laughlin and Sunday hunting.
Yes, we do.
So, on that note, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, which is Frank with yet another high and tight buck.
Yeah, another one.
Not quite
That's
as tight, but definitely as high.
definitely is high. It's the third one so far we've had
Yeah,
on the
it's
Deer
the
Camp
year of the
series.
high and tight.
It is. It definitely is.
So,
I did not kill it on Sunday.
yeah,
I think it was Tuesday.
died on Tuesday.
You took the words out of my mouth.
If you get that reference, Tom would tell you. Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, if you know that movie quote,
Here we go.
put it in the comments.
Yeah. So Frank, take us right from the top, and go over your gun you're using. Yeah, I think they can hear that.
Well, if
So-
they're listening, then they can know to put it in the comments.
If they're not listening, they wouldn't know anyway.
Anyway,
If somebody didn't listen to this podcast and just put Forrest Gump in the comments,
Well, now that's a dead giveaway.
they already said it. Anyways, Frank, tell us why you're the guy talking to us for the Deer Camp series.
So you woke up Monday morning.
I'm not going to start
Take
on
it
Monday.
from there.
I'm not going to start on Monday because
You woke up Tuesday morning,
and
probably about 11:30.
yeah, it was a late morning.
Late night of gaming.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that. No, I didn't even hunt in the morning, and I went out, and we had just got like a foot of snow. We had a good storm roll through, so I was like, today's gonna be the day to hunt. It's gonna be gorgeous. So I go out, and we had a bunch of snow I had to trudge through. I was going out at our one lease, and we have a really big field and like a hedgerow, another field, and then back into the woods. So I honestly almost petered out and like didn't go as far back as I wanted to go just because the snow was being such a pain. I was like, I really don't want to.
Was that nice, wet, heavy snow?
And it had like a crust on the top, so
Yeah.
every time you went to if you didn't lift your foot up all the way, you'd like trip and face plant. It was the best.
I watched a turkey face plant in snow like that one time.
Oh, yeah.
Funny as hell.
I bet. It's always funny to watch animals trip because that's
Yeah, because
just
it's like they're doing human things. Like for whatever reason, I feel like animals.
they don't trip and fall.
Yeah, like I feel like they're just perfect specimens that don't do stuff like that.
But when they do, boy, is it funny.
I watched
Yeah.
a squirrel fall out of a tree one time. It was pretty funny.
That's wild.
It's like its only job is to not fall out of
Yeah.
a tree.
Yeah, you had one job. But yeah.
Couldn't
So
handle
put in
it.
the comments if you've ever seen a deer or any animal do something weird.
Like trip and fall.
Yeah.
Or speak, anything like that.
Yeah, if you don't
That
want
would
to
be
speak,
cool.
Right?
We
Definitely
used to
leave that
have
in
a
the
bird at the shop that would speak, but
it's still there.
well, I'm not.
Tom's
still
not there.
So I used to have a bird at the shop.
Well, that shop still has the bird. He's alive and well. Actually, Ava's been a bitch. I'm not
Whoa.
gonna sugarcoat it. She's been squawking like a lot.
This bird's name is Ava, and the only thing she knows how to say is "Hi, Ava."
That's what people say to her.
Yeah.
Beautiful bird, loves to be scratched behind the ear hole,
I was gonna say where are the ears at?
ear hole, and underneath the wing.
So
Just
if you
above her
know a
beak.
bird that speaks, leave its name in the comments.
Just leave something in the comments. That's what we're
Yeah.
getting here.
So I'm trudging through the field, and I'm like, do I really want to go all the way back up into the woods? And I was like, you know what? Mama didn't raise no bitch. Stick to the plan. Get back there. And I get back up in there, and earlier this year, well, actually, they're still doing it. They've done almost a complete clear cut of this property, which is about 150 acres of woods and then 50 acres of field. And they just destroyed most of the woods. And so there's tops laying all over the place. And since they've been working in there, like every day, I haven't really hunted in there much, but this was the first time I actually went back and hunted in the woods. So I set up like right on the edge of the clear cut and was kind of sitting in one of the tops and just get hunkered down. And I got set up in my spot at just before 3 o'clock, I think. So I'm hanging out, and my dad was actually up there a couple days before that and saw a couple of nice bucks. So I was like, this is going to pan out. I could feel it. It felt right. And I'm hanging out, and I wasn't really expecting to see anything for a little bit. And it was just after 4, and sitting there just kind of looking around, not really paying a ton of attention, but still a little bit. And I turned my head, and I'm like, oh, man, there's deer moving right there. So I watched second, I'm looking through the tops, and I was like, okay, there's smalers up there. And as he moves a little bit more, I was like, oh, he's pretty tall. I think I might be taking this buck. And he's meandering through the tops, and he's like quartering to me pretty hard. And I'm shooting a 30-30 with a reflex sight on it, so I don't have any like magnification or anything. And he's about 150 yards when I first saw him, and he moved into about 80 to 100. And at this point, I like had my gun up like towards my shoulder, and I didn't have a rest because he came in at a weird spot that I wasn't really expecting him to, which I don't know why I wasn't, because it's
Expect the unexpected.
yeah,
That's what I say.
that's what I should have said, but I didn't. So I had like a tree peg screwed in, and I had it like set up on the other side of the tree so that I could shoot where I thought the deer were going to be coming from. And he came from the opposite way, so I'm trying to like juice myself up and like try to get my rest, but I couldn't quite move around the tree because it was like a tree in 2 tops, and I couldn't really wiggle around to get my gun up on the rest. I was like, okay, we're just going to hit this one freehand. And he's coming
That's
in.
pretty
coming,
manly.
Right, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I thought. And honestly, that was like my sole purpose for shooting. I was like, I'm a man, and I'm going to shoot this deer. So he comes in about, like I said, about 80 to 100 yards, and I throw the gun up, and I was like, he's getting a bullet. And he steps into this lane, stops on his own, and the whole time he was kind of like
You
looking.
didn't even have to give him the map.
No, the whole time I think he saw me, but he didn't really know what
See
was
you?
going. Yeah, he saw me, but he didn't see me. And he would just kind of like look my direction and stop and see if I was moving. Then he'd put his head back down and meander some more, and then finally he made the fatal mistake of stopping in an opening where I could shoot him, and was looking my direction. And I was like, okay, you're friggin' cooked. And since he was quartering
Your
to me,
goose is cooked.
since he was quartering to, I went.
Leave in the comments.
Tom,
if you
shut up.
But where you're past.
might go to that movie.
So I went just in front of his shoulder, came out, most of the way back to rib cage, and he floored him. He went straight down.
Drop like a sack of potatoes.
No,
huh?
he sure did. And so I take a Snapchat, and I've been messing with Nick quite a bit
Yeah, it's
this
been
year.
rough.
I had, in archery season, I had,
Buddy of yours.
yeah, a buddy of mine he gave me a deer to do Euromount on, so I took a picture of it on my tailgate, and like just the head, because that's all I had was the head, and I made it look like I had shot a deer. And Nick was like, oh man, we got a buck down. I was like, oh yeah, and I went right along with it for a couple texts, and I was like, nah, I'm just messing with you. I didn't shoot anything. And then opening day of gun, as one does, I was snacking, and
And the people that say they don't snack on an all-day sit, they're lying.
yeah, they're big time liars. So I was in the middle of snacking, and I bit my lip.
I don't know if he was hungry enough to bite his lip. I don't know why he just didn't keep eating his snacks.
I should have just kept eating the snacks, but I went for the lip instead. So I've never bit my lip so good in my life, and I was bleeding like crazy. So I was like, oh, you know
So
what?
much.
Yeah. I was like, and that was my thought process. I wasn't like just spitting the blood out. Then I was like, oh, you know what? I can do this. I was like swallowing it for a while, and I was like, oh, this is getting really gross. So I started spitting it out, and then I'm like, oh man, there's like a lot of blood on the ground. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a Snapchat of this, send it to Nick and Tom, and I got literally the same conversation out of both of them, and they're like, oh man, what'd you shoot?
It's almost like we're brothers.
Yeah. I was like, they're like,
We
what'd you
are.
shoot? And I was like, I didn't shoot anything. They're like, yeah, you did. I'm like, no, I swear I didn't shoot anything. I'm just messing with you. And they're like, okay, well, just send us a picture of the deer. I'm like, no, for real, I bit my lip. And I was having the conversation separately with them, but they were saying back like almost the exact same thing. And they're like, there's no way that amount of blood came from you biting your lip. You definitely shot a deer. And then I had to prove it by sending a picture of my lip, whatever. So finally, I shoot this deer, and I have it on the ground. I'm like walking up to it, and I take a Snapchat and send it to Nick. I'm like 50 yards from it, and I like zoom in on the deer, and then I send it to Nick. And immediately my phone dies. So Nick was left with a cliffhanger of this Snapchat of a deer that who knows if it's mine at this point. And
I didn't believe that it was his. I think my text or my snap back was like, whose is it?
yeah, well, I didn't find that out until a couple hours later when I finally drug it out of the woods, which was a good half a mile drag. It was a good one through a foot of snow.
Did you have a rope or did you just grab the rack?
Grabbed the rack.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That's how we got dads out of there.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
drag.
luckily we only had to drag that one like 50 yards to the trail.
Nah, it was more than that. Give us 75.
Generous 75. So anyway, I get this deer out and I plug my phone into the truck, and I have a message from Nick saying, whose is it? And I said, it's mine. And he said, no, really, whose is it? I was like, no, it really is mine. Or no, at first I said, oh man, when you asked if
Yeah,
it...
and I think I said, I'm tired of the games, White.
Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the archery buck, the blood in your mouth, now this. I was like,
I said, I just don't know what to believe anymore.
no, it really is mine. He's like, okay, well then I'm going to come to the house, we'll get some pictures. And yeah, I was like, okay, sounds good. And so I'm driving there, and he texts me, he's like, for real? I'm about to head to the house, because he was at his
I was
girlfriend's.
a half hour away.
Yeah, he's like, I'm about to leave. Did you really shoot a deer? I was like, I swear to God, shot a
I'm
deer.
like, all right, we're getting in the truck. I'll be there in half hour.
Yeah, so it was a good time. And yeah, big buck down. It was good. It was good stuff.
I do
Good,
want to.
clean family fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. We actually got a compliment on the photo for your buck.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and-
because you even said when I sat down to take the picture, the full moon was coming up right behind me. It was a good pic.
Yeah, and like I've been trying with our team here to get some better quality pictures to
Yeah.
just it looks nicer when you take an extra second to make them look nice. And it was cool that somebody like actually noticed that it wasn't just like
A half-ass, real
yeah,
quick,
like
take a picture.
we set it up real nice.
Who
So
was it? Give him a shout out.
give me 1 second.
This is news to me.
Well, don't
yeah.
you pay attention to the gram, dude?
I'm not a big social media guy. Not gonna lie.
That's up Nick's alley. That's what
Yeah.
he does.
Me and you, we get the content. Nick posts the content.
Exactly. We know Nick does not
was
get
our,
content.
Our buddy over at White Gold Outdoors.
White gold.
Yeah.
Sounds
They're,
like a big shed hunter.
No, actually, PA Hunting and Outdoors. New follower for the page, but turned out to be pretty good group of, or whoever's running the page, solid man or woman. Can't confirm, but yeah, they commented that the picture was really nice.
Yeah,
and-
we appreciate the comment.
We do.
No, they left something in the comments. That's just what we're after.
That's what I'm here for.
Tom is thrilled.
So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, honestly, I'm kind of like ready for a smoke break. We haven't had one in a while. We were trying to quit, and
Sometimes you fall off the
Yeah,
wagon.
you see the was it the House or the Senate passed a bill?
oh
yeah,
yeah,
well, it's House did.
House?
Senate won't pass that.
I don't know.
I do
Leave
know.
in the comments.
Tom, shut up. So anyway, it's smoke break time. It's been a while. We're throwing it way back.
That was no.
It's
that was-
happening.
That was rusty.
Everyone loves
Haven't
the smoke
smoked
break.
in a while, Tom.
Yeah,
That's
we
why
haven't.
I haven't.
So we're gonna throw it to Nick for a solid smoke break.
Here we go. So, like Frank said, he brought it down to the house. We do our own processing because we're men. We don't have to pay somebody else to process our deer. That's
Not that you're not a man if you do, but
you're not a
don't.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, you should if you can. And I feel like we've talked about this before. You should process at least one deer yourself. But anyways, so
Unless you can't.
yeah, okay, we're past it again. So Frank's busy cutting his deer up because he's doing a lot of canned venison on this one because he did a lot of burger on the
Can you
last.
just not use the word venison? I really don't.
I'm with Tom on
I
this.
really don't like it.
I don't use venison unless you're talking like canned venison. Like I feel like
Nope.
No.
canned deer meat.
Canned deer meat. That's what I say.
Okay, well Frank's working on canned deer meat, and
Just it's too uppity for me.
Frank decides, you know what? He's going to share the harvest or the kill, and he pulls the tenderloins, all 3 of them out. Tom thought there was 3 tenderloins. Can you believe that? What an
didn't.
idiot! So Frank pulls the tenderloins out,
Coming
and
from the guy that pulled his tenderloins out
Just
and threw them
let
in
him
the
finish the
gas
smoke
pipe.
finish
break.
the story.
I just finished one damn story.
Yeah. So Frank pulls the tenderloins out and gives them to me, and we're gonna cook them up for everybody that was helping out. And this is a recipe you guys are gonna want to keep in mind for future reference because they were delicious. Yeah, loins. So what you're gonna want to do is you get them tenderloins out. Frank cleaned them up a little bit.
Tenderloins.
Frank cleaned them up a little bit, and then what I do is I like to rinse them in water. That helps get
Cold
there's like
water.
there's a slimy film sometimes on the meat, and getting them in cold water and then patting them dry with like a paper towel helps remove that. And I'm a firm believer that makes a lot of difference.
Takes a lot of the gamey taste out.
We're getting there. Finishes, you patting the meat down and everything, and you got
Pat
like
your
a
meat.
plate, and I like to use a little bit of what's this here sauce, other known as Worcestershire or Worcestershire or
however you say
Worcestershire.
it.
Yeah, and
Leave in the
whatever you
comments how
call
you
it.
say it.
I use that and a little bit of soy sauce. Yeah, sprinkle those on both generously, and you let them sit for a while. And that way, the juices that don't soak into the meat, they hit the bottom of the plate, and then they kind of soak back up into the bottom half of the steak. And you let that sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, kind of just let it do its thing. Mind you, these are at room temperature. That, I believe, makes all the difference. Also, it depends on your room. But anyway, room temperature.
72 degrees is room temp.
Yeah, they're not 72 degrees. It was a little colder in there. But anyways, we didn't freeze them or refrigerate them or anything. These are fresh off the deer. And then once they've soaked in for like 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to want to put a little bit of what I call New York steak seasoning, which is just a little bit of mixture of salt, pepper. Actually, there's no salt in it. Pepper, paprika, a little bit of crushed red pepper, and some other things.
Those are the secrets.
Yeah.
Secret ingredients.
Yeah, there's a few others that I won't talk about. And then
This is a smoke break.
yeah.
We're
No,
supposed
it's
to be giving recipes.
yeah, it's called New York steak seasoning. I don't know exactly what's in it. It's literally like calling Montreal steak seasoning. You can't tell me everything that's in Montreal steak
No,
seasoning.
you say you put some Montreal on the bitch.
Yeah, and I just said I put
New York.
New York steak seasoning on it, and I tried to say the certain few things that are in it.
Is that like something you can actually buy?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's delicious. That's why our steaks were so good.
The food's so
And then I
good.
also put a little bit of garlic powder on there because everybody likes garlic, and you measure garlic with your heart. So I always add extra
like
garlic
that.
powder. Do that, and then what you do, you let that sit for a little bit, and then you flip the steaks, and you do the same seasoning. You don't do any more Worcestershire or soy sauce. You just do the New York steak seasoning and garlic powder, measured with your heart, and then you let it sit for a little bit. And then while it's sitting there, at that point, you go over to your grill, and you turn on both sides of your grill, and you put a cast iron skillet on one side. That's important. Get the cast iron skillet on one side, leave the other side open. What you're going to want to do is when you get the grill nice and hot, you put the steaks down on there, let them sit for a while, and you want to kind of sear the outside. And then just a few minutes on each side, basically. And then when you're done with that, you put them into the cast iron skillet. Now, the cast iron skillet, you're going to have about medium heat. You're going to put a little slab of butter in there, and you're going to let the steaks cook in that pan with the butter. And then what I like to do is you take the plate that the deer steaks were sitting in, and there's going to be some extra juices and spices that are in the bottom of the plate. You dump that in with the butter because I think it helps.
Really
Does it
elevates the
elevate
dish.
It
the
does
dish?
elevate the dish.
Wow.
So that's what you do. You put the slabs of butter in there with the steak, the extra juices, and you cook the rest of the way in the pan. So you get that nice seared outside.
Cooked to medium rare.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
I suppose it would be to your liking. But.
yeah, it's to your liking. I tried to hit about medium rare. Some pieces were a little less, some were a little bit more, but there was about 5 people eating the steak, so kind of gave a little bit all around. But I do have to say every piece was
Delicious.
ridiculously juicy.
Oh, yeah.
But
was
anyway,
good stuff.
so then when they're done, which the best way to, I think we've talked about this before, take your hand, open palm, and then what you're going to want to do, a rare steak, if you touch the meat of your thumb, like that big meaty chunk on your thumb, a rare steak, open palm, that's what your steak's going to feel like. Now, if you take your thumb and you touch your pointer finger and you touch that meat, that's supposed to be medium rare. You touch your middle finger, you've got medium, and then your ring finger, medium well, and your pinky is well done. That's a pretty good reference for while you're pressing the steak with a spatula or a pair of tongs.
Yeah.
I like to get right about medium rare, and then what I like to do is put them back into a clean plate, cover them with either another plate or foil, and that helps keep the steaks moist, and the juices will stay in the steak a little bit, and you let them cool down a little bit, and then when you cut them open, the meat doesn't, or the juice doesn't just like
Dump.
pour out of it and then they're dry. Like you just get these delicious, juicy medallions. And
boy,
they
were they
were
delicious.
phenomenal. So 10 out of 10, perfect.
And that concludes the smoke break for the Deer Camp series. Sorry we haven't done them in a while. We kind of have been,
Trying to quit.
We've
but
grown
yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
it's been, but honestly, I could see us bringing them back because
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed them, and I feel like everybody else does.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a good recipe?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we ought to say it now. We're going to do our best to start doing these every week again, like
Yeah.
we used to.
Yeah, I agree.
So that concludes the smoke break, as Frank said.
Yeah.
We'll jump back over to Frank and finish
Honestly,
up.
my story is pretty much done. Like we've
why don't
already
we-
we've
why don't we
already
finish-
eaten the deer.
Yeah, I would say, why don't you finish up with what you decided to do with your deer?
We already talked about that.
Yeah, I'm canning it, and I was gonna save that for next week's smoke break, Nick.
All right, then we won't talk about it. Simple as that.
Just know that I canned it.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of canning it right now.
Literally. Right
Literally.
now.
Yeah.
I can see the canning
cans.
happening right
Took
now.
a break from canning. the
Yeah, so it
podcast.
wasn't making noise while we were podcasting.
Yeah. So that smoke break was more of a smoke end.
Yeah, because we're about done here.
Yeah. So, like Frank said, next week is going to be our last Deer Camp series,
And
then
maybe it'll be featuring Nick.
Yeah,
Probably.
one
might.
can only hope.
I tell you
it's
what,
Nick.
if we have, because there's actually we have somebody lined up for well, I guess that doesn't have to be a Deer Camp series. Anyway, hopefully next week Nick's talking big bucks.
If not, we already have another Deer Camp series lined up because we know Nick's not going to get it done.
You say that now, but it's going to happen. Nick's getting it done, 2020. And on that note, the only way I'm going to get a deer down for the Deer Camp series if I get outside.